Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm here to recommend or give you some tips on how to read more books in this year. So let's get started with the video. Tip number 1 is to read short books as much as you can. I'm saying this because short books are easily readable and most of the stories in short books are also more engaging compared to those in longer books, because shorter books don't have that much descriptions and it can be very much suitable for beginners to read. If you need a recommendation for a short book, I'd suggest you to read Siddhartha by Herman Hesse. Now, this is a reimagining of Gautama Buddha's life by Herman Hesse. It is a award-winning book and it is so easy to read. I'd suggest you to read this because it is a very short book and you can read it within a day's time, and the amount of knowledge that you can get from this book is so high. So always read short books if you want to read more books. My tip number 2 is to read books from the genre that you like the most. Now, if you're confused of what genre you like the most, just go for the movies which you watch so frequently. Mostly, the movie genre which you like the most is the book genre that you like the most also. When I started reading, I was most inclined to fantasy books because that was my most favorite genre. Then I ended up reading more books than I thought I could, and that's how I've developed this good habit of reading. So, if you want to read more books, go for the books in the genre that you like the most. My tip number 3 is to read more than one book at a time. Now, you might be a bit confused. You might think that I'm not even able to read a single book, but how can I read more than one book at a time? I'm saying this tip because you might feel it a bit boring while you read a single book or a single story, but when you switch between 2 or 3 stories, you can end up enjoying the books even more, and at the end of the day, you would have read 3 books simultaneously and finished them off at the same time, and it'll be more than what you had expected to accomplish. Just give this a try because it is a method which I have found very much useful when I wanted to read more books. My tip number 4 is to set up a specific amount of time to read every day. Now, if you ask me, I try to read at least for 2 hours every day. And while doing this, I don't just sit in for 2 hours and read throughout the whole 2 hours because it is a bit boring at times. So I just split up the 2 hours into parts. It might be 4 half an hours or 2 1 hours, or the way in which I like it to fit into my day schedule. Now, it is not such that you can even read for 10 minutes a day. Even by doing that, you will end up reading more than not at all reading. So always set up a amount of time for reading, and also split up the time into small chunks so that it is easily achievable and you will end up reading more books. Moving on to tip number 5, always try to buddy read. Buddy reading is a event in which you will read the same book along with other people at the same time. Now, this is just like any other activity in which we do it as a group. Now, you might find it hard to get people who read the same book as you do near you, but you can always find them on the internet in Instagram and Facebook groups, because many people organize buddy reads and they do it with along people, because it might motivate you to read the book more in a faster pace, and it will also be a very good thing to do because it will be more and more enjoyable compared to reading it alone. So try to buddy read always. Moving on to tip number 6 is don't just physically read. We are not in a world where books can be read only as physical books nowadays. There are various formats in which we can read books. The most favorite ones for me are audiobooks and ebooks. Audiobooks are a bit costly compared to ebooks because they require subscriptions mostly, and the open sourced audiobooks are mostly classics and they are old and a bit difficult to read if you're a beginner. And if you want or if you like to read ebooks, then I'd suggest you to use Kindle Unlimited, which is a subscription for Kindle, and you can get books from a variety of genres throughout the year, and it costs like 200 rupees per month. If you're not interested in paying that much, and if you do have a Prime membership in Amazon, you make use of that Prime reading facility available, because there are a lot of books which are available in that, and you can just download the books and read them for free. And if you also know people who have a Prime account but don't use it, but don't use the Prime reading facility in it, make use of it because it is so cheap. I can say that it's literally free, and you can browse through at least like 10 to 15 books every month in just by having that app in your phone. So always try to read in different formats and don't just stick to a single format. Moving on to tip number 7, the next tip is a bit more productive compared to the all other tips which I've mentioned before. Always carry a book wherever you go. Now, for this tip to work out, you can make use of the previous two tips which I gave, which is always read smaller books because they are easy to carry and you can travel with those books very easily. And the next one is don't just physically read books, stick to different formats of books. So if you like reading ebooks, you can just have them on your phone and you can read them on the way while you travel. Or audiobooks, if you are in a place where you cannot physically read a book, then just plug in your earphones and listen to an audiobook. Audiobooks are so much engaging and you need not even read, you're just listening to the books, and it is a even better experience compared to reading while traveling. Okay, so always carry a book in some format while you go anywhere. Tip number 8 is the second most important tip that I'm giving to you guys today, which is DNF books that you don't like to read while you are in between a story. Now, DNFing means did not finish. DNF means did not finish or do not finish a book that you don't enjoy, because it will end up making you pick up lesser books because the experience of reading that book was so horrible that you don't find reading interesting at all. So don't feel guilty to not finish books and leave them as such, because uh, books consume a lot of time and time is so worth it, worth a lot. So you don't want to waste that precious time while reading a book that you don't even like to read. So always DNF books if you don't like them. Last and most important tip, that is tip number 9 that I'm going to give you today, is always don't get the judgment of others influence what you read. Now sometimes I'm the type of person who reads a lot of fiction compared to non-fiction. There are people who tell me that non-fiction fiction books are not books at all, but I'm not going to take that into my mind, because there are people who don't read. If there are people who read, they know the importance of reading fiction books as well as non-fiction books. Now you might be a person who might like trying books from a very small niche, and people might tell you that those books are not worth it at all. Don't even listen to those people even for a microsecond, if you ask me, because there are people who don't read books and they don't have the capability or the ability to criticize you for reading because they don't read. Always stick to your own taste and don't just read books because others want you to read them or don't want you to read them, because reading is a thing which you do it as a personal experience, because you just give a small chunk of your day for reading itself, and don't let the judgments of others influence what you read, and don't waste that time because of the thoughts of other people. Always read books only which make you happy and make you feel good. So don't ever give the opinion of others a consideration, and read as much as you can and be as much happy as you can. Okay guys, that is all that I have for today, and I might have ranted a bit during some of the tips because I've learned these by experience and they've helped me a lot in reading more books in the past 2 years. Please do implement them in your life so you can read more books if you want to. And also, if you found this video interesting and enjoyable, do hit the thumbs up button and also share the video. Don't forget to subscribe in order to get more content from me. Thanks for watching.